is your BO4 movement as?
Yes.
Do e-girls not want your Zoom? Are you an unemployed year 6 grinder?
Yes.
Do you want to have sexy movement and impress all the BO4 e-girls?
Yes.
Well, with Daddy Jacoby's help, all the e-girls are gonna want your mother.
My mouth is ready.
What's good, my handsomes? Guess who's back again, man at Jacoby K with another movement tutorial. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at skating as I promised to all my beautiful sexy beasts. They have asked and they shall receive. As you can see, obviously we got a hand cam for anyone that doesn't watch me. You can watch what I do on my controller and it will help you out. For your knowledge, I do have back buttons. However, with skating, I'm going to be sliding with this button right here in the video and I'm going to demonstrate how to do that. At the end of this video, we're going to be going over basically everything you need to know about skating and how to be good at it. And by the end, you're going to be a skating god. You're going to be having all them e-girls loving your Maddox and shit. So, you know, like the usual of how my content goes. Supreme specimens of knowledge will be bestowed upon you within this realm. Anyway, within this video, I'm gonna be showing you guys like step by step how to do skating. I'm not gonna do it like gradually. Anyway, might as well begin. The way skating is used is very much defensive. It's not an offensive technique, even though some people might believe it is. If you wanted to actually see how it looks something like this. And the way this works is it will camera the enemy's screen where your movement will not align with what is happening on the server particularly, so your hitbox will go a bit stupid, and especially because of the velocity and shit, it will make it very difficult for them to hit you. However, the downside to this is obviously you can't shoot back considering you're in the middle of a slide. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to do that. At the end of the video, gonna be sexy. Use this for defensive maneuvers. If you want to do offensive maneuvers with this, it can work in certain situations, but don't overdo it because you'll just look retarded. Anyway, let's begin. First thing you want to know how to do is obviously the simplest form of movement. How do you slide cancel? There is two methods for this. One of them is better than the others. I'll show you the garbage one. The garbage one is to slide and then cancel with your aim button right here. My aim button is L1. The better method is to slide and then cancel with R3. L1 can work sometimes, or your aim button. There are certain situations where it can work. I'll explain the main one. If you wanted to peek someone and then it turns out there's like 4 guys, you can quickly skate back. So you do something like this. But if you're trying to do a normal skate, you wouldn't do it. The reason is, if you try and reload and skate, you can't do it because you can't aim while reloading. And also if you want to heal, same story, you can't do that when you're doing it with L1. That's why we use R3, and I would recommend strongly that you only do R3 as your slide cancelling. Whenever you finish off your slide cancel, either keep holding your sprint button downward, so hold it down like it's in the controller and move it forward, or if you do let go of it, you have to reignite your sprint after you finished your slide. The reason is, if you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to like stay crouched, as you can see there. So if we do that, you're going to stay crouched if there is no sprint active. Some people believe like there is some sort of slide glitches in this game. They're all bots. Basically, they just don't play the game properly. If you do everything I tell you in the video correctly, you're not going to have an issue with like dead slides or slide glitches, etc. So the way that would work, you slide over. Oh, rest in peace, and I really didn't reignite my sprint, and you just do that, and that's a nice slide. Whenever you slide, use leverage on this stick. What that means is angle this stick to the side wherever you want to slide. Don't angle this one. If you angle this one, there's a big difference. You do something like this. If you angle it with this stick, you do a nice smooth right or left turn. What that allows you to do, and it's very important, most people don't understand what the point of that is, it allows you to stay on target on the enemy much better. If I'm sliding like this, I'm looking at walls in irrelevant places, and if you try and skate like that, it's a rest in peace, bro, on God. Anyway, now that you know how to slide cancel and how you're supposed to do it with your R3, we're going to move on to the next step. But before we do that, I'm going to show you guys other methods that you can use for slide cancelling. Obviously, I use tactical, which is you slide with your R3. Some people do not like this, which is completely fine. I can show you some alternate methods. You can use either default and use claw. The way you use claw is you want your middle finger to be here on the edge of the controller and your pointy finger to be in the middle of all of these ones here. Do not do something like this because it will hurt your hand. Do something like that. And then with this, when you're on default, you can then slide cancel off to the side and left and right. The only issue is, like, I'm pretty shit at claw, so, like, you know, I mean, I'm okay, but, like, I ain't that good, like, ain't gonna lie. So, you know, forgive me for the shittiness, but it works pretty okay, as you can see. And then I just got my ass beat down. The third method you can do is you go over to your PlayStation, you hit your settings right here. You're going to go to accessibility, controllers, custom button assignments, and then custom button assignments here. You can either change L2, R2, R1, L1 to circle, and then you can slide with whatever buttons you like here. Keep in mind, this will flip whatever is on there to one of these buttons. Most people would flip their heal button because it's the one you only have to like tap once instead of a few times in certain cases. So keep in mind with that. For me personally, I enjoy using tactical the most, which would be this one right here. 1 second. You can also, the other one is bumper jumper tactical. That's basically the same thing. I enjoyed this one, although some people say they really don't like sliding with R3. That's completely fine. I would recommend using the other two options. Once you've learned all that, basically all you have to do is repeat the process, but in different directions. So you're going to slide cancel to the left and to the right, and you're going to do it really fast. You want to keep this 180 degrees. Later on, I'll show you guys how to do a different skate where you wouldn't need to keep it 180 degrees. But for a normal, simple skate, you want to keep it in a straight line like this. The reason you want to do that, if you skate forward, you're running into the enemy's bullets, you're going to literally get beat down. When you keep it 180, it's the hardest for them to hit you. It gives you the most benefit. Additionally, when you're skating like that, you want to be closer to the enemy. The closer you are, the more you can camera them. If someone has low sense and you move around them like this, they won't be able to track you. Again, do this on shit players, because if you do it on good players, they're going to beat your ass down. So don't ever try this on me, because you're just going to get a free kill. I'm going to get a free kill, basically. But if you find some bots, you can do that and you can embarrass them. Another thing you can do, whenever you skate like that, you will skate and then chain it into a different movement. So usually what I would do is shot punch the enemy. Something like that. I would recommend jump punching because it gives you more momentum. Another thing you can do is skate like this and then jump at the end. Another thing you can do is chain it into a crouch jump. Basically the same thing, but just a different type of jump, and I'm failing right now, unfortunate. Like that. I would not recommend skating for more than 3 or 4 pumps, because you will get slide fatigue. It will make you slower, so don't overdo it. If you want to keep your skate long, that is completely fine. I would recommend keeping it long if you're further away from the enemy. If you're closer, you can keep it shorter. The reason you want it longer when you're further away is because obviously whenever you're getting further away from someone, you become smaller, and so does the distance that you can slide on their screen proportionally. So if you hold out your slides for longer, it will increase the distance, make up for the length that you're further away from them from. I would probably have to explain a bit more with how you chain your slides like this. So obviously you're gonna slide and then slide like that again. So you can see everything here. The biggest point people miss out on is they forget to ignite their sprint. If you hold down your sprint, you don't have to ignite it again. But if you let go of it like I do sometimes, you just have to ignite your sprint every time you slide side to side. So imagine every time I slide, I have to reignite my sprint. That's like the safest way to do it. So you're gonna slide, rest in peace. What the hell? And then you're gonna do something like that. So sprint ignite, etc. You can obviously, I would recommend whenever you do the slide, you don't have to keep this fast, but whenever you switch direction, make sure that's fast, 100%, because that will give you a bit more effect. In addition to this, keep in mind cover will help you. If you're skating on something that's reasonably low, you'll actually get extra protection as you're sliding under it. You'll get another like extra bonus camera effect. This can work on anything that's basically elbow height. With terrain though, make sure you understand that if you're skating on terrain that's up and down, it will first of all speed up your downward skate and slow down your upward skate. So if you're doing something like this, rest in peace, I would recommend you do it side to side like that. A good thing and tip that is pretty reasonably well off. If you watch some of my older movement guides, watch the one that is about side-to-side sprinting. If you side-to-side sprint, whenever you try and skate, it will make it a lot easier. So you basically use this stick to side sprint because it will allow you to ignite your slides quite a lot easier. Anyway, that's basically it for this method of skating. I'm going to show you guys something more complex. Whenever you do skate or multiplayer, you want dexterity. You can also add lightweight, but it's not necessary. Dexterity is the minimum. You can do it without, but the skate will be worse because your slide will not go as far. So if you use gung-ho only, not so good. But then there's another skate you can do where you can have dexterity and gung-ho. If you do this in blackout, it's fine. Just make sure you have mobility. Mobility is gung-ho and dexterity combined. The way this skate will be different is it will be exactly the same as before. However, because we have gung-ho, we have the gung-ho effect where we can actually shoot back as at the enemy as we skate. This will change a few ideas of what we're going to be doing. First of all, we don't have to skate in a 180-degree line anymore. We could actually skate towards the enemy and around them. That's a rest in peace. How'd they get a drone squad? So we can actually skate towards them because we're going to be able to shoot back now. And it will be more beneficial to skate towards them because obviously our hip fire will be getting closer to them. So we're going to hit more bullets. You'll see me do this in blackout more often than multiplayer because in multiplayer I don't use gung-ho. And in blackout you have really fast slides if you have mobility. So again, like, you could do some really dumb shit with this movement. I'll recommend using this on, obviously, guns which are close range rather than a Maddox. So Maddox is kind of a shit gun to do this with. But you kind of get the gist of it. The only difference with this and the original skate is that you just hold down R1 as you're doing the skate. There are certain myths about spinning as you skate as well that are wrong. A lot of people really don't understand how this game mechanically works. So there's a rumor that if you spin around as you slide, your slide will go slower. That is completely untrue, by the way. The reason you know that is if you slide forward and just look around, your slide keeps going regardless of, it doesn't change direction. The only reason a slide would slow down as if you're moving around is if it would be changing direction as you look around with it. When you slide, your slide won't change direction regardless of where you look. I could slide like backwards and I'm looking forwards and the slide will not slow itself down. If you wanted to do spins as you skate, that is fine. The only issue of spinning is like it's kind of difficult to know where the hell you are. So it's a bit of a rest in peace. Another thing I can mention as well, depends really what you prefer playing at. I play 14-14, 4x. This makes it reasonably easy to skate. It doesn't matter if you use something low sense. If you use low sense, it's also fine. You just have to make sure you guarantee use leverage on this stick. Because let me explain, if you use something really low like this and you try and do skating with no leverage on this stick, you're gonna screw yourself over because what it's gonna look like is like this. It's not gonna work at all. If you use leverage on the right stick, you're gonna be pretty fine. It's not gonna be like the best looking ass skate ever, but it's still gonna work reasonably well. If you leverage correctly with this stick, you can also skate if you have low sense. Leverage is the most important tip because this is the one mechanic most people don't showcase off in their skating tutorials, and it will basically make or break if you can do it properly or not. All the other settings are kind of unimportant, it doesn't really matter. If you wanted to chain this before you skate, there's also a few camera movements you can do before you skate. Obviously you can do a snake, which I can make full videos on these techniques before, or sorry, after, if people want. So you can obviously snake as you skate, or snake like before. What that does is it makes your first slide lower than the rest, so it will make you even less likely to be hit as you snake on the first slide. Although it does make it like a bit slower. You can also, if you wanted to use a corner cut, which I haven't explained in any video yet, but I might eventually. If you wanted to corner cut, it does work as well. So let's say I wanted to cut the corner. You would probably most likely like either bait to the left or go straight to the right and then bait left. You can do either one, whichever one you like. It doesn't really matter. You can really go crazy with how you want to use skating. Some people believe you can do a skate peek. In my opinion, these are bad. I wouldn't recommend it unless you're really far away range. So if you're doing mid-map chows on firing range, it's okay to skate peek, but if you're doing something closer or even on head glitches, I would recommend elbowing instead. The reason these work on firing range is because you have sandbags, so you can use the sandbags as cover as you snake peek. And also you basically will most likely not be skating within this situation. You're going to be peeking, like full challing, and sometimes it might go wrong, so you just skate back. As you go out of your skate, of course, don't forget that you want to be strafing with your gun. It makes you a bit harder to hit, adds even more movement. So don't forget your typical gameplay ideas as you're skating. Don't just skate and then lose your brain with what you're doing. So yeah, make sure you remember, and then I think that's basically it for the video. You'll probably get the gist of it. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them down below. If you want to see any more mechanics within the game explained, I don't know, snaking, certain cameras that you can do, etc, etc, I can showcase those off for you, no problem. Maybe a zero recall Marox tutorial, who knows. Just to summarize, obviously you have normal skating. You want to do it in a straight line. This will make you harder to hit from enemies. You want to use leverage on the left stick rather than the right, so that you can center and it will allow you to shoot back at them once you finish your skate. You can use many different things after your skate and before it, such as a snake before, or even some jumps, crouch jumps, even just normal crouches at the end of the skate, so you can have even more momentum going out. If you're doing a offensive skate, you don't have to worry about your skate going in a straight line. You can move towards an enemy, because then you're going to be able to shoot them. Another thing I forgot to mention about offensive skating, if you want to end off with a punch, it works that way. One thing I would have to recommend with that though is don't punch singularly. You have to jump and punch. If you only just punch, you won't be able to get a launch animation. You have to jump and punch. If you launch, it will just like do that and you would go past the enemy. That works sometimes if you have like Brawler and Alcatraz. It will be useful in the sense that you will actually go past the enemy and you won't get stuck on them, but it will make it more difficult to punch them. I can make a full punching guide in the future as well. That's basically it for the video. If you enjoyed, make sure you smash that like button. Sub if you want more information and knowledge within the realm of Black Ops 4. If you have any questions, put them down below. I'll see you around. Vive la Gloire de BO4.